Hello friends, and welcome back to my playthrough of Cipher Zero. My name is Jonathan, and we are in the third biome of who knows how many. I have not looked anything up, because this is a blind playthrough. I would appreciate your comments below, but please keep your spoilers hidden if you have any of those. And we will press on and see what we have. Continuing on in this section, which is called the power plant. We were seeing groups of tiles that were connected to form a region in the last stretch, so I think we're going to be continuing that. My prediction is, as I thought, that we're going to be seeing some snake rules, but I'm immediately confused, because what I thought we were going to see were the snake diamonds connected with the larger regions. We don't have any larger regions, but we do have two open diamonds where we've only ever had one. So, working theory is that we connect one solid diamond to one open diamond, and the other is extra, which would mean that we could have this as a valid solution. So far, that looks good. Before I move on, I will just make sure that this is invalid. Yep, doesn't like that. And that this would also be valid. Okay, so what this has taught me is that we just need a pair to be connected. It doesn't matter which pair. And here, ooh, okay, so I'm confident that this will pass the test based on what we saw before. So the question is, will this fail because of this other diamond being along the line? I'm going to guess it's going to fail. Yep, doesn't like that. But if we make it just that much, we are good. Okay, so we can't have any other diamonds on the snake that we build. So we could build a snake down. This is also interesting. So I predict that if we did this, that satisfies the snake rule, but we would need two additional cells marked. That would solve that, but I predict this will be a problem. Yep, doesn't like having a diamond that isn't connected to another one. So instead, we need to connect around the other side to make the snake happy and the two ticks. All right. So, we've learned more about how these snaky clues work. This has got to be filled in because it's the only solid diamond. I presume we could have multiple. I don't know if we had two of them, whether that would mean pick one of the solid diamonds and one of the hollow, or if that would mean we need to make two snakes. I'm sure we'll be tested on that soon. But for now, we know that's filled in. So these two can't be, so the snake must grow this way. And so these two can't be filled in, so the snake's got to come around this way. And now this snake needs to make it to one of these two endpoints. It can't go... This 2 means the snake can't go down and back up. So the snake has to end on the bottom row. And therefore, it's got to end at this diamond. This one cannot be filled in. It has to end with these two. And then it has to have come from there, and that has exhausted this middle row's clue. And so it has to swing around the top. Great. And what do we got next? Still a single starting point. 3 possible conclusions. these 3 clues are less productive than the 2 was, because it seems like there's lots of ways we could handle that. So I see one answer. I don't know how to prove it's the only one, or if it's the only one. I see if we don't include this in the 3, then we're going to end here. And this has got a snake around this way. And I see that if we do that, this does work. That's no proof, but again, I have to get myself out of the mindset that we need a proof on every single one of these puzzles. I'm confident that that will work. And we get a starting point here, 2 3s again. What if this were not part of the 3? Oh. I think it isn't part of... I think it isn't part of the 3. Let's say this were part of these 3. Then what 3 would they be? We'd have to either go to the right from here, which means we couldn't go up because we'd loop in ourselves. We'd have to go down, and then we'd hit this other diamond. Or we'd go left and not right. We would have to fill all 3 of these in. We would have to go down from there, and then we'd have a snake without being able to have 3 filled in this row. So I think that means this is out. These are all in. And I have to remember that we can have non-snake cells filled in. That is allowed. But we have to somehow end at this one. And in so doing, in order to fill 3 of these in, we've got to connect to both of these. So this has got to go up, which means these are not filled in, which means these 2 must be from this clue, and it's got to swing around the top. And I believe that makes this unique. Okay, halfway through, it's going to get harder. We've got that for sure. That is the only one in this column. So the snake is going to have to go east from there, not over here. And then, let's see. It could just go down here and be done. Could we handle the rest of the clues? If it didn't go here, it's going to have to sneak down the right side, and that's going to break this clue. So in fact, it must go to this endpoint directly. Not here, and then nothing else touching this middle section. So that forces this clue to be satisfied up atop, this one to be satisfied over here, and that also takes care of that clue. So that should be our answer. Okay. Still starting with 1 that is given. Alright, what are we gonna see with these rules? If this is the end point, then the snake will have to travel through around the bottom of this diamond. And I think that's a problem, because then we're going to have 4 in this row or 3 in this row. So it's not that one. What about... oh... gosh. 3 in this row. So 2 in this row. So it could go to the right and then up. If it did that, we'd have to go right in order for the 3 clue to be satisfied. We'd need to go up. That's broken. So that's broken because if we went to the right, we can't keep going. We have to go up. We can't go to the left. We've got to go right to satisfy this. This has got to go up. But now we're not going to be able to have 3 in this row because we'd end up with a fork or a loop in this path. So this doesn't go to the right. This goes up. And so that is our other cell in this row. And because of that, the 3 in this row can't be these first 3 because then we have a dead end. So this is definitely shaded. This could still go over by 1, I think. If it did that, it would have to go up, and there's no way we're going to have 3 in this row if we do that. So this keeps going up, which forces this to be shaded. And now 3 in this row can't be the first 3, even though that would end up at a diamond, because then we'd be connected to these others. So this is definitely one of them, and one of these 2, but it can't be this one, because if that were the endpoint, we'd be connected to this nonsense. So this has to be the one. The snake has to go up. The snake is done. We need 1 more in this row, and it can't be touching the snake, so it goes there. I liked that one. I like it when they are satisfyingly logical. Okay, now we get to test my theory. Do we only need 1 snake, or do we need 2? We need 2. Now, I'm curious whether it is you need as many as the minimum of the 2 diamond types, or you need as many as there are filled diamonds. We might be able to disambiguate that next. Could we have, I guess, if it's the other, we could never, one of those answers means we could never have more solid than open, in which case we would never be able to see a puzzle that disproves that. But, okay, we need to pair these up somehow. These are both going to be shaded from this clue and from knowing that we need all of these to be endpoints. This will have to come out here, and therefore is that snake, so we can't touch that snake any further. This has to come over this way, has to come from down there, and we can't have a 4th in this column, so this comes over like that. Right, and again, we want these to pair up. Let's mark these endpoints. We certainly can't fill this in because we'd be connecting 2 different snakes. So we've connected there. This has to come up north. We can't make the snake have a loop. Keep on going north, and we've actually finished this snake. This one has to come north. We need 3 out of the 4 in this row, and we've marked this as not shaded, so that is shaded and must come down like so. And that should do it. And we are cooking. Got still got a little ways to go. We have all 4 of these shaded. This clue isn't quite done. So that could be shaded to finish a snake and finish this clue, possibly. Oh, actually, we should use this one first, which proves that, because none of these can be shaded. So this is actually finishing that one. So we can't shade any of those, because this snake being done, we need to have 3 in this column. We need this to sneak over this way, and that finishes that snake as well, and we're done. I'm very surprised that we haven't had larger cells in this this set at all. But now we're up to having the dots along with the snakes. So these are all known. This clue is happy already with these 2, so this one's not shaded. This clue needs these 2 shaded. And we have This clue needs one more shaded. It's not this one. Let's see. This could snake over this way, possibly. If this came straight up, I think that would be fine. It would take care of this clue, and this snake would be done. That would mean this is not part of a snake, which is allowed. But probably causes other problems. Let's think about this one. If it includes this cell, that means this snake goes this way, through the 2 dots, in either direction. Fine. I don't like that that's fine, but it is. I think it's likely. Yeah, I think it's likely. There's probably some way for me to determine a maximum minimum type thing so that I can prove that these are connected in a certain way and not another way. Like, maybe I'll be able to prove that this can't be not part of a snake. If that's not part of a snake, then yes, actually, if this is not part of a snake, then the snake can't enter any of these. No snakes can enter any of these cells, which forces this one down, forces this to be empty, forces this to be empty. That has broken this whole this situation, because this would need 2 neighbors. So that's again a bit convoluted. But I think that has proven that this needs to be part of a snake. And if it's part of a snake, what does that tell us? It tells us that one end is this one. Because it can't be these 2, we would form a little loop. So that is definitely involved. That makes this not filled in. Makes this not filled in. This has got to have this as its other endpoint. It's got to either do that or it's got to do that. Either way, this is not part of a snake. This has to come out this way and either up or over to meet that one. So now, can we disambiguate the rest? This clue is happy. This clue is happy. This clue needs either this one or this one, but not both. So either this snakes down and this snakes down, or this goes over and this goes over. I believe both of those are legitimate solutions. I think this is a non-unique solution. Because I think if I've done this right, that is a working answer. Yep. Okay. Looks like maybe 3 more of these. We, again, can shade all these in to begin with. And again, is there room for any... Is there room for any extra cells? Maybe. If we went straight across here and straight across here, we would have exactly one place to put an extra cell. And even if we did that, this clue is going to be unhappy. But if we snaked down like that, we could... Okay, so I see this as a solution. Again, this is not very logical, but I think it works. This clue can be satisfied by shading that one. This can come over this way. We've got 2 valid snakes. This 2 dots is happy. The 3 dots is happy with these. All right, And nearly the last one. We've got to fill all 4 of these in. We've got to hit all 4 neighbors of this. The snake can't fill in that cell. That would cause a problem. So this has got to go over this way. So that's got to be not filled in. The snake can't have an intersection. So this has to go this way. Continues going up. So that's not part of a snake. This has to come around the outside now. This can't be part of a snake because it'd be a dead end. So we can't go into there. This must come out this way. Oh, actually, I didn't expect that. And this must come over to the east. So this is our snake. It doesn't come over this way. These are out because they would make the snake fork. And this comes up like that. It was actually a little bit easier than the other one. And we are wrapping up this segment with everything that we've seen before. We got some dots in a gap like they originally were presented. This one's nice because that's actually just given. So that one's done. And this column is done. I think we know that this counts the whole column, that it doesn't stop here. I think we know that. I don't have that written down. So let's hope that that's true. We do know that these are filled in and they can't go across. So we know that this snake has to come across here and down here. This one has to come out this way to meet here. Then it's just a matter of how we deal with these 2 clues, really. I guess this one as well. So this snake can only take up 2 cells in this row, and so it can't come down and across. It can't go straight across because we couldn't fit 2 more. So it's got to go all the way down, all the way up. That makes this one happy. This clue we now know is that one, and that is to find this snake. So we can't have any of its neighbors involved. Unshade that one because of this clue, and we need to fill in the 3 remaining ones in this top row. I believe that'll do it. There we have it. All right. I like that, although I'm really surprised about the order that it's presenting things to us. So we're getting little triangles in the background. I don't know if those are significant in any way. Can't click on them or anything. They're just decoration, I suppose. And we have another segment left in this biome, at least one more. Probably with the thing that I was surprised we didn't have so far of the larger segments combined with some of the snake logic, basically. So we will get to that next time. Thank you for being with me on this journey. This is a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next as we follow that train along.